you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
Are you ready to do this? We don't have to do this.
We have to do this.
We can talk about your feelings.
We always have to. Please, can we
have a rough morning?
Can we just have? Yeah, let's just talk. Let's just sit and talk about my feelings. What a wonderful use of time that would be.
Are you safe or not safe today?
Oh, I'm very safe today. I mean, we could talk about some unsafe things.
Well, listen, I tell you, after the last week, today would have been an okay day to sleep in.
Yeah, there was a whole lot going on.
I went to 11 things.
You went to all the global fellowship
I
things?
went to 11 different things, not to all of them, but to 11.
Yeah, you didn't come to mine. I noticed that, but I'm gonna get over it. We'll save my feelings for later.
Man, I was in on. Did you have one?
Yeah, well, I mean, our life group did. We joined
Yeah.
a life group this past year. We've been out of life groups for a while, so
Yeah.
it was finally time to rejoin. So you got to go and see a lot of different.
I did. I just hopped in. We hopped and popped and, you know,
And so
plopped.
Did you eat
but
every
not for
time you
long.
went? Did you eat like
No,
4 dinners
no.
in a row?
In fact, let me tell you something. I'm down 3 pounds.
Is that right?
Yes.
Over this past week?
Because my wife told me, you've got to go back to the doctor before we go on this trip.
Oh, boy.
So I was thinking that I would go on this trip and have those 2 weeks to just walk everything off.
Sure.
But I don't. So I am on to the.
So the accountability
I've
of the
gained
doctor.
about 5 pounds.
Oh, since
And
when?
it really has made me mad. I'm just
Yeah.
mad about it.
Well, you know, I still laugh about like when you lost the 30 pounds or something like that, and people were like, "Do you feel better?" I'm like, "No, feel the same.
Yeah.
Feel the same." You know.
I feel hungry. You know.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, I don't feel any better. In fact, I'm aggravated because I can't eat.
do the bit about. Do the bit about like if you had 6 months to live and you just go live at Krispy
I'm
Kreme.
telling you, I would do that. If the doctor walked in, he said, "Mac, terrible news. You got 6 months to live." I'd say, "Okay,
That's
I
not
think
so
I can
bad.
handle it." But I am eating a gallon of Rocky Road every night. Every night. And probably a bag of potato chips at the same time.
At the same, they taste good together. The salty and the sweet.
Yeah, no, the morning would be filled with Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
You know.
You'd
But
be bringing
I-
a dozen to the office every
I
day.
miss ice cream so bad because I will cheat and let myself have a donut from time to time.
Sure.
But I don't ever eat ice cream anymore.
Do you feel worse after you have the donut? Does it go through, give you a headache?
Well,
or
I
something?
just am disappointed. I'm
Only eating one.
On the inside, in my head, I'm fussing at myself for doing
Yeah.
it.
It's weird how your psyche changes around
It
these
is.
things.
You listen. You know, you've preached before. You're talking to yourself in your head
Oh,
while
of
you're
course.
preaching a sermon.
Of course, yeah.
Your mind can think 500 times faster than what you speak.
Which is a scary thing.
And so while you're speaking, preaching, you're thinking, and people say, "Well, you looked at me the entire time." Well, honey, I may have, but I was not thinking about you.
I don't,
You know.
don't remember at all.
I
I remember
don't-
there was this one time where we accidentally left a mic stand out. And you walked over to it, and you're preaching the whole time, and you were like fiddling with the mic stand and moved it around and moved it to the side. And afterwards, we said, "Pastor, we're so sorry we left that out." And you were like, "Left what out?"
Yeah.
You didn't even remember that you'd moved that around.
Well.
I thought that would. So it's true. You get in, and you know what? My theory is you're not just thinking about this message. You're thinking about the next 3 messages while you're still preaching this one.
Yeah, because I've been up. Well, last week I worked some ahead because I had a week that I didn't have to preach, and so
Yeah.
I got that sermon ahead, and then I started in on the light of the world. I am the light of the world.
Yeah.
You know, John chapter 8, and I've gone back this morning because I sat down and I started reading yet something else that really triggered a thought in me. I didn't realize how many times Jesus said that he was the light of the world.
Is it
in
more
John?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's 3 different times. Here in 8, then in 9, before he heals the man born blind. He said, and then in chapter 12 he says it again. But then you go back to the prologue, and the entire prologue of John is built off of this whole concept that he is light.
Yes.
Because you come down to, in verse 4 and 5, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness. And then you come on down to John comes, who is testifying, and he says, I'm not the light, but the light's coming. Yeah. So it's pretty fascinating to read all of this.
In the first epistle, he does that too. God is light, and in him there is no darkness.
Yeah, he does in the epistle. And Isaiah gets onto that in a number of places.
Oh, interesting.
And I just read a fascinating, it's amazing how often you can read through stuff and you never catch it.
Right.
This, everybody knows, arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you.
Yes.
Now, from that verse right there, the rabbis took the Messiah's name to be light.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't that interesting? But then come down to verse 19 in this, and listen, no longer will you have, we always compare Jesus to light. Well, Jesus says, I'm the light of the world. But we come and we say, he is light. Well, there's a rightness to it, but the rabbis never confused the two, God and the light. Now, paganism does that. For paganism, light is God. For us, God is light. There's a difference in there. Now listen to what he says.
Okay.
No longer will you have the sun for light by day, nor for the brightness of the moon will give you at night, but you will have the Lord for an everlasting light.
Yes.
And your God for your glory. So there is this sense that men worship the sun. That was probably the first of the gods. When you look at pagan religion, the sun generally becomes the first of all the gods that they worship.
Right.
But there has to be this distinction that God is even greater than light.
Correct.
He creates light.
Yes.
He dwells in light, we're told in Scripture. But whereas the pagan will worship light as God, we worship the God who is light.
Yeah, that's interesting because you see
and that's more than just semantics.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree, especially when you consider events like the Transfiguration, where it said that when he's shining, it's actually brighter than the sun.
Yeah.
The God's direct light, if you will, is even greater than his created physical light in the heavenly bodies, like the sun. Yeah, we worship a God that is greater than all that. I think that's. We got to it. Oh no, our friends are testing the fire alarms again. With all this,
it went off this morning forever.
Speaking of light, right?
Yeah,
Bmaybe the Lord heard us this flashing light.
This is my new field light.
This is okay. So this is actually, as we've said before, we're in high demand here at the Sermon Recap. It's actually people just constantly taking flash photography.
Well, I was going to
so
say
grateful
we were close to the Holy of Holies, and this is
Yes.
the lightning that came
very
down
nice.
on the Mount of Sinai.
It could have been like that. There's definitely a thunderous. I don't know why I'm looking directly at it. Now I can't see anything. I tell you what, though, I just a little bit of a subject change. You all right? So the thing is, if there ever is a fire in this building, nobody's going to leave.
No.
They test these things 4 times a week.
All the time. Yeah.
If there's ever a fire,
You're exactly right.
Nobody's going to do anything.
They keep trying to find something. There's something in the system that's not working right.
Yeah, something
In the wiring
and they're having to do that because they just they got the codes and everything for the storage building back here. That's So it's that Jeff McGuckin's Memorial Storage Building. He's still alive.
I love that. I thought the sign should have stayed up.
I agree.
personally.
Do we still have that sign? Okay, we'll print it.
Yeah.
We'll print another one.
We need to put one. I wanted to do a neon.
Oh yes, the McGuckin storage facility. So you've been thinking a lot about this concept of God giving light. Not light is God, but God is light. God is God, and then He can reveal Himself through light. I think that's really good. Jesus echoing that several times. Yeah, thinking through that, it is interesting how often He uses that imagery.
It really is. I've never really thought about it, and I've preached through John before, but never really thought how many times in this book Jesus is compared to light.
Well, and then making that self-comparison. I think that's one of the things, apologetically, liberal scholars would love to say, well, Jesus never made a claim to godhood, which is patently ridiculous when you look at the four The four Gospels, because even this claim of that I am the light of the world is a callback to what we see. You just showed it to us in Isaiah 60. I just read a couple days ago Psalm 27. The Lord is my
light and my salvation.
Right? And
Of
whom
whom then shall
yeah. Yes.
Of
Did you
whom
sing
then
that?
will
I
I
know-
fear? Yes, that's what I
Yes,
sang.
I love
and
that.
they gave me a voice scholarship.
Yes.
And then they told me to sit down and play something on the piano. And I said, man, I can't read music. And they said, you just sang that and you can't read? I said, no, I cannot read music.
Do you remember what oratorio that's from?
No, I don't.
Judas Maccabeus.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's from from the liberation of the of the Jews, which of course that's all in the Apocrypha. So if any of our friends have read the Apocrypha, I had to learn. I think that was my freshman year of college. I think that's what it was. Yeah, that famous baritone.
Yeah.
solo. Though a host of men were laid. Wait, Pastor and I are going to do this as a duo.
The world
Yes, very good.
encamped against
Love it.
me.
You guys hear it?
Dude, don't.
That was really good. I'm telling you, it could have been a baritone
I
solo.
love those old, Carmen, all those old
It's got your record deal.
oratorios, where the father of the girl walks in while
Yes.
she's kissing the guy, and he comes in,
Time sandals. He's gonna come back to haunt us tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Those things
Oh, my word.
You watch those things and you're like, wow, soap operas were not innovative at all.
No,
Like this old
really,
stuff was.
Carmen runs behind the tree to kiss the guy that, the tenor, and then the father walks in, and you hear this sinister music, being played.
Yes.
He's
yes.
got that deep
Basso
bass voice.
continuo is going.
Oh gosh, what do you call it?
Well, the music underneath, the basso continuo, is just like all the music
You
continues during
learn
the
something
opera.
every day in this place.
During the opera, it continues. Yeah, well, I gotta prove that I know music.
Now, by the way, Edward, who was
Oh, yeah,
here
from
from Moldova, has encouraged all of his people to watch the sermon recap because he says in doing that, they can practice their English because of the back and forth.
Of course, yes.
Nothing spiritual, just the back and forth.
Well, when we started with the scriptures today, I was really proud of us.
I know.
I was like, look at how good we're doing, and then the fire alarm comes on, and then it's off.
It just kind of.
So
If I ever
that
go to
tells
Moldova
you-
on a mission trip and encounter people speaking like Pastor Mac,
Yeah.
it'll be the best day
Oh
of
my
my life.
gosh.
I can see them, just shaking your head. That's what they do. Let me tell you something.
Moldova, an entire church.
I don't know the Moldovan accent. I apologize. I did my best.
They're great people. They really are.
Definitely. Well, it was
It's
really
so
cool.
it's so neat to be involved. And I stood in that church that they showed the other day, less than a year ago, back in the fall.
Yeah.
I stood just on the concrete pad,
Oh yeah, you had
That's
that
all
quick.
that-
It was a
yeah,
quick trip,
yeah, it
like
was
4
quick.
days. Yeah.
and I stood on that concrete pad. And then I went to another church that had actually built out the building to see what it was like. Man, I wish we could put up a building for $30,000 that would house the congregation. Golly.
I know. Well,
But that's how little it costs for us
Yeah.
to help them build a church. About $30,000.
And yeah, so and then a lot of that I didn't even know. It's amazing like how much work is being done and we but when Ross told me that we built that building, I think that was the first I'd even heard about it.
Yep.
But
And I won't say who, but a great guy in the church, just quietly, doesn't want anybody to know, just
Yeah.
walked in and handed me a check the
Yeah.
day after I had met with a small group of them to tell them about the Joseph Project. He shows up here, hands me a check, says that's to pay for the church. And
Moldova.
I'm just thinking, Lord, that was such an
That's really
encouragement to
cool.
me. And
Of course. Yeah. There's no need to mention Jared's name here.
No.
We'll let him
Yeah,
stay.
yeah.
Let him stay incognito. But I tell you, every year it gets more and more special to me to see the missionaries. Did we develop
this year
these
was the
relations?
best to me.
For
Of
me, it
all
was
the
too.
of all the pastors, of all the mission conferences that we've done. This year was by far the best.
It's a great group. Just hearing them all share, like they're really good at sharing, and all of them have had really monumental things happen with people coming to faith, with new baptism, new churches started, new relationships in the community. Some definitely shared some hardships, and we were able to pray with them.
Yeah.
But Patrick did a great job organizing all that.
Yeah,
The whole
it
team
really
did.
was. And so many of our ladies, I'm not even going to start naming them, but there are a number of our ladies that every time I showed up somewhere,
Yeah.
they were there.
That's right.
And
That's
I thought,
exactly right.
man, you could not do it without lay women in this church.
They're doing-
You just could not do it.
They are doing an incredible job. And the missionaries
And
all
isn't it funny how people fit the place they are?
Yeah.
The guys from out of San
For
Diego,
sure.
they look like they belong.
Yeah.
The guy from
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
I told Debbie walking out to the car, I said, is he not the perfect guy
He's perfect.
to be preaching in Las Vegas? Either Las Vegas or South Florida. Just perfect, He looks like he just walked up off the beach or something.
Yeah.
He's just got that look. And,
Jack-
just,
Jack Diven. His wife is
and all the Brits look so,
Oh, yeah. As
they look
British
so
as-
British as they can
British
get,
as
yeah.
it comes. Yes. Well, and I was joking because you were there at the lunch on Friday. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I sat right next to you. So Friday we have lunch, and I was making fun of Patrick about this because they feed us this nice lunch, and then they come and they say, "Come into this dark room and sit while the missionaries quietly share their testimonies after you've had this." Pastor, it was everything I could do not to fall asleep. I see. I was with my son, and I just like, son, you need to keep poking me, so I stay awake. So stay awake during this thing.
Yeah, that was the men's. That was the day that
yeah.
they did the men's and the women's.
Yeah, the men's and women's, and so it's always fun, comparing notes with my wife after because she goes to and she took the girls to the women's event. I just thought that was cool. They
Yeah, I
would
had
hear
to get
about
up
those
and
sorts of
leave.
things.
I had to get up and leave out of there because I had an issue. Yes, I had an issue downstairs that I had to get up and leave out of that
Okay.
and go get Debbie so that we could sit down and talk to somebody. Anyway.
Well, I guess all that to say, it's been a really good week. We
Great
brought
week.
the orchestra back yesterday. That was super fun.
It was good.
We had a great time, and lots of people putting in their commitment cards and praying. Patrick did a good job having our missions partners participate in the service. They were there praying, doing scripture readings. I really appreciated that. That was really cool. So it's been good.
Yeah,
it really
it
has
has.
been good.
Good week.
So and I guess we already started with this, but we can go back to it. You can where we're going now, because I know that it's been tough. You've had a
have.
tough time pinning down this series on
Yeah,
Christ.
and now that I'm in it, I'm okay.
Oh, okay.
And I'm really enjoying it because I'm kind of doing a deep dive on the I ams of Jesus, looking at his character, who he is, and then I went back because I started off with I'm the bread of life. I did the first the 2 weeks before Christmas, and I really think those are critical to listen to those two first, and then I jumped into I am the bread of life. And then I backed up and I started with the feeding of the 5,000
Yeah.
just to wrap up missions week.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
I'm going to leap ahead, and Sunday I'm going to be in chapter 8 where Jesus says, I'm the light of the world.
Man, speaking of backing up, that clip. So I've never seen that Hacksaw Ridge movie.
Oh, my word.
That clip was amazing.
It was unbelievable. This guy
Just
keeps
one more.
crawling back up to the front, praying the whole time, Lord, help me just to get one more.
Yeah.
Just one more. Just one more. And he saves 75 guys that way.
That chant of just one. I just want that to be my life. I just want to be able to say, Lord, help me get just one more.
Just
into the
one
kingdom.
more.
Give me the opportunity to see just one more.
And the last guy that he saved was like the platoon leader. And he had been so brutal to him.
Wow.
And he goes back, and the guy's able to sit up, and he drags him back on a blanket or something, and the guy's sitting up, and it's how close they are is the Japanese are coming up to where he was, and as he's dragging him back, he's just shooting.
Wow.
And then he gets him down, and the Japanese are coming up there shooting, And he goes over the edge. He starts climbing down because they've got this wall of rope, kind of a rope ladder type thing, and he starts going down. The Japanese run up to the edge and start shooting. So all of the guys on the ground start shooting back up. I mean, it's everything in that thing is a miracle of this guy's life, of how he made it through all of that.
That is amazing. Wow. Yeah, I got to watch that whole movie. I've heard really.
It's
good
really,
things
it's
about it.
really good movie. It's really. Some of the things in the movie they veer off. How he meets his wife is not correct. He doesn't meet. She's not a nurse, and he doesn't meet her in the. And there are a couple of other things that are a little off, but it doesn't interfere with the story.
Well, one of the scene that I always hear about, I need to, I guess, finally look this up on YouTube or whatever, is when like he's pointing a gun at his dad, and they ask him, "Did you kill him?"
Yeah.
He says, "Well, in my heart, I did."
Yeah.
This
Well,
one,
see,
I
I've forgotten about that, but it was his dad and his uncle
Oh, okay.
instead of him and his dad. It was his dad and his uncle, and he was there, and he watched them, and they were fighting, and I can't remember if one of them got shot or not. I just don't remember. But it was not him and his dad. It was his dad and his uncle that were in a fight, and his dad grabbed a gun, and
Okay.
so.
All right. Well, I'll have to YouTube that one. I have no doubt that in our thumbnail for our video today, we'll have Andrew Garfield and maybe Mel Gibson back here, just looking over both our shoulders.
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
Oh, the opera thing, yeah. And we are going to finish up with an opera performance. Stay tuned. But before that, I did want to hear. So this Scarlet Thread thing is so interesting. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with Criswell's old message about the Scarlet
No,
Thread. did it?
his sermon was,
That was all the way through Scripture.
yeah, that was through the Scarlet Thread through Scripture.
Okay.
And he preached on New Year's Eve that sermon, and I think he preached, I can't remember.
Wasn't it like 3 hours long or something?
No, it was longer than that.
Really?
6 or 7 hours.
Oh,
yeah.
my gosh.
I think they took a break or two in between, and he came back. But he had always wanted to preach, and so the church, they just, anything Dr. Criswell wanted to do, the church, they found joy in making his dreams come true. So they suggested it to him, and they did it that thing. They said the place was full. They said people would come and go, through the whole of the thing, but the place was still pretty full by midnight.
Well, but the British Navy thing, I need to look up a picture of this. Like, how big was the scarlet cord inside of the rope?
It's
noticeable?
Yeah, it was very noticeable. You could tell.
So they would just cut the rope, and they would see.
They would see that scarlet thread, that scarlet cord in the middle of the rope.
That is so interesting to me. You guys need to go back and listen to that illustration. The last thing I wanted to hit on, because I know we're getting close to the end of time, is I thought it was really helpful. You did this in both services, how you talked about how a lot of times we won't hold the rope. As far as like supporting our missionaries, we'll just look at the rope, talk about the rope, analyze the rope. Put the rope under a microscope, have a study about the rope. Let's just talk about the rope. Let's do all these things except
Hold the rope.
it's doing what we're supposed to do. I thought that was really helpful and convicting.
Well,
I'm
I
glad you
appreciate
went there.
that. Thank you. The part that I found fascinating was just looking at Philip, and I didn't do it in the second service. I did it in the first, and talking about how Philip was so hesitant, and that's what I see here. He just hesitated here, and then you get over to chapter 12, and you see the same thing when the Greeks come to him.
Yeah.
During the week of Pentecost, and they come to him because his name is Philip, which is Greek, lover of horses, Philip of Macedon. So they come to him and they tell him, "Look, we want to see Jesus," and he doesn't know what to do. What do I do with this? And why can't you make up your mind? Just say, "Hey, there he is, right there." Just go over there and say something to him.
Yeah, you go talk to him.
Yeah, go right there. Come on, I'll take you right there and introduce you to him. But he doesn't know what to do with it. And it's just like he's always hesitating to make a decision.
And you kind of, the application there was talking about how we look at all these obstacles, right?
Yeah.
And we say, well, I've got this. And that was convicting to me. Like the biggest obstacle that we have, especially with going overseas or taking a big trip, is we got so many young children. But it's like, am I focusing just on that? or am I seeing like there's solutions, there's ways that we can still do this? So that was convicting personally. I hope it was convicting to lots of people, because I tell you, there is nothing that will change your perspective in a positive way.
Yeah.
Like even if you go domestically, to just go to a lost place, helping people that are on the tip of the spear, it just changes everything.
It does. It really does. I love it when I do it. You know, you just have to just determine, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get through all of the aggravation that goes with, because listen, you will get under spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
When you decide, hey, we are going to go do this, you are going to enter into spiritual warfare on it.
Well, Jamie,
I can promise you.
Jamie already cornered me about going and helping them with their conference next year. Did he talk to you too?
Yeah.
He wants you to do it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I intend to do it. And yeah, we need to take some musicians with
Yeah.
us.
Well, we'll take some musicians, but I'm still sitting next to you on the plane. I need somebody that I can rest my head on when I fall asleep.
Are you flying first class? Me neither.
Okay. All right.
neither.
As promised, here's our opera performance. We're singing. What are we singing? Are we going to do the
Carmen.
Carmen?
I
Okay,
don't
so
know.
they've just come in.
Esperanza.
And so you're the. Yeah, that's right. He's the dad, and I'm the long lost uncle, and we're both disgusted that this woman is
Kissing her boyfriend.
kissing her boyfriend.
Carmen is kissing her.
How dare you? What has God wrought? You're not supposed to be laughing. No, you're
It's
not
not a
supposed to.
comedy.
You're not supposed.
Oh, it's a tragedy.
You're not supposed to break your. Your father is grieving.
That's great, man. I can't beat
You
that.
didn't know you were supposed to. Where's the yes and, Pastor? We're supposed to do this together. Okay, hey, that was fun.
It was.
I certainly hope
We
it was
helped.
fun
We
for you.
learned all the people. We learned. I hope we helped all the people to learn English in Moldova.
I forgot about that. To all of our Moldovan brothers and sisters, say goodbye, Pastor.
Hang tight. Goodbye, Pastor.
This is what happens when we don't get to do this for 3 weeks.
Oh gosh.
Oh.